CBS Sports just dropped its latest mock draft. We're going to go over this mock draft, and we're going to talk about the first couple of picks because it does affect the Detroit Lions. We're seeing a trend, and I absolutely believe in this trend. This is something that has been taking place, something I've been monitoring, and it's starting to come into fruition. I've talked about this months ago, so we're going to go over this bad boy and give you my thoughts on this mock draft. Is this legitimate BS? Mock the mock. That's what it's all about here, folks. Three weeks away, and we can stop speculating, and I really do like that because the speculation does absolutely suck butt cheeks. So we're going to go over this, though, and we're going to talk about the trends. It's very important that we talk about the trends because it affects the Lions. So let's go ahead and get into CBS Sports mock draft here. As you can see, this is pretty much what we expected here, the first couple of picks, right? Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. Either way, I do think those are going to be the two quarterbacks taken the first two picks. But you see this here? The Tennessee Titans trading up to number 3. I've been talking about Tennessee trading up since, I don't even know, since the end of the season. The idea of them believing in Ryan Tannehill seems that it's not there. And it affects the Lions because of pick 3. I've been talking about how a team could trade up to pick 3, whether it be the Tennessee Titans or the Detroit Lions. Hell, I have the Tennessee Titans potentially trading up with the Lions, but I do see the possibility, and you've been seeing this trend, that 4 quarterbacks could go in the top 4 picks. Massive ramifications for the Detroit Lions. So that's what happens here. You have 4 quarterbacks going in the top 4. That means the Lions are going to have a situation, whether it be Tyree Wilson, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson sitting there at pick 6. And that's legitimate. Now, in this mock draft, they have the Seattle Seahawks taking Will Anderson. Now, this is interesting to me because Seattle is a wild card. What are they going to do with this selection? Say 4 quarterbacks don't go in the top 4, then I do believe they would take an Anthony Richardson if he's available. But in here, they take Will Anderson. I know they like Tyree Wilson as well. I think Tyree Wilson has a legitimate shot to go as 5 if 4 quarterbacks go in top 4 is Will Anderson because they do like Tyree Wilson. So far, the scenario for our beloved Detroit Lions is playing out magically. That's what you want to see right here. You want to see 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4 unless the Lions trade up. And we're seeing this. Trends is really hitting. We're talking about many mock drafts, and the reason for this is obviously teams want quarterbacks. So this is awesome to see this trend. We've been talking about it. Now there's a couple wild cards here. Mac Jones on the trade market, as well as obviously Lamar Jackson. So if a team like the Titans somehow decide to get a Mac Jones or a Lamar Jackson, obviously they're not going to trade up. So we do got to monitor those 2 quarterbacks, where they go, because it could affect this draft. But here, the Seattle Seahawks, they take Will Anderson. Now the Detroit Lions on this mock draft take Devon Witherspoon. I'm going to disagree with the selection. I don't think the Lions take a Devon Witherspoon if this draft played out this way. I think they'd take Tyree Wilson. I think that's the route they're going to go there. I love Devon Witherspoon. I have no problem going there, but since the Lions really built up the secondary, I just don't think they need to use the 6th pick on a cornerback. You can still get good cornerback depth, even at pick 18 or in the 2nd round, because the guys who you did pick up in free agency, they're going to see significant playing time. Emmanuel Mosley, Gardner Johnson, and Sutton are going to see a ton of playing time. So if you're to draft a Devon Witherspoon, how much playing time is he going to get when you're picking a player in the top 6 at corner and the money that they get there? So I actually don't think that this probably happens. I would suggest if Will Anderson goes 5, that Tyree Wilson will be the selection. If Tyree Wilson goes 5, I would suggest that Will Anderson will be the selection. I understand we have a ton of edges, but guess what, folks? We have a ton of corners. It's the same situation. So I do think they would probably go one of those two. And the reason I'm not saying Jalen Carter, I just don't believe they're going to draft Jalen Carter. I would definitely consider it. Yeah, I've talked about this endlessly, but I am not Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell. Just feels like they're not going to go that route. So to me, it probably would be one of those two. For sure. So let's continue on the mock draft because we got another pick there at 18. What do they got going on for the other teams? Because it's pushing players down. Paris Johnson, I could see that. Offensive lineman there. I actually could see Witherspoon going to the Atlanta Falcons. Either way, those players are gone. Jackson Smith-Ajigba, I don't see this. I see this being a tackle here. Probably the man from Northwestern, Peter Skoronski. So I think that's a little bit off. Jalen Carter potentially could go to the pick 10. Yeah, for sure. They got Lucas Van Ness going to the Arizona Cardinals. Very possible they need help at the edge, so he could be gone. Quentin Johnston, I believe he definitely could be gone. Kalijah Cansey, I don't know. Maybe. Iffy there. Deontay Banks, iffy there. Peter Skoronski, I think he'd be already taken. Chris Gonzalez and Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. Then got the Lions going Bijan Robinson here. I do believe this is really possible, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is legitimately possible. Brad Holmes has talked endlessly about getting blue chip players, dynamic playmakers. He values that more than anything in the draft. That's why he traded up to get Jamison Williams. He wanted an impact player. Say, Mike, we need defense. Yeah, we need offense too. The thing is, the Lions upgraded a lot of this defense in free agency. So if you're to say, we got to go all defense, who are you going to cut? You're going to be cutting players. So Bijan Robinson, if he's available, I would expect the Lions to draft him. That or a guard here. He would be absolutely dynamic for the Detroit Lions in the running game. This would be a fantastic pick. Please understand that Bijan Robinson is not just a running back. He is a special running back. I think he is better than Saquon Barkley coming out. No doubt in my mind, I think he's better. He could become the main focal point for this offense. If you are a Jared Goff fan and you want to see him succeed, you give him Bijan Robinson, and it's going to make him and his job much easier. There is absolutely no doubt about it. The Lions would be able to run the football. Wide receivers would be wide open because you can't cover everybody. What are you going to do when a Bijan Robinson's in the backfield? You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond as out there at wide receiver. What the hell are you going to do? Someone will be open because they're going to have to go ahead and bring that safety in the box for Bijan Robinson. Bam, Jamison Williams gets open. Or if they want to go ahead and double cover Amon-Ra or J-Mo, Bijan Robinson's going to get his run at it. So if you really want this offense to go to the next level and compete, not just for the NFC North, for the NFC, you do that. If you look at what you have to deal with the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, they got weapons galore. This would be the smart pick to go to. Or a guard. I think that would be an option at 18. A Kalijah Cansey, if he's there, a Bijan Robinson, or an Osiris Torrance or something like that. I'd probably go Bijan Robinson just because of what he would bring to this team. You want your defense to play better, you run the football. Your defense can go ahead and sit on the sideline while they're just running it down the throats. Fourth quarter, we're ahead, run. It's over. So this would absolutely be a fantastic pick. There's no doubt in my mind this would be a solid option here. Continue on here. Interesting to see Mozzie Smith going up boards. This is much higher than I would have done here. There's other players that we're looking at, right? We're looking at, first off, you hear a lot of connections of Hendon Hooker to the Detroit Lions. Hendon Hooker's flying up draft boards. He is now in many mock drafts in the first round. So if you're a Hendon Hooker fan, you might have to draft him in the first round. I think it's a little too early for me. I like Hendon Hooker. I think it's a little bit too early for me. I have a second round grade on him. Jack Campbell, you're seeing him fly up draft boards as well. I concur. There's a good chance he's going to be a first-round pick, and first-round pick. Joey Porter Jr. following to 30 seems extremely unrealistic. If Joey Porter Jr. was falling down, if I'm Brad Holmes, I would try to trade up and get him. If this was to occur, I would be calling up and trying to trade up and get him just because of the talent is so extreme. But I believe this is an absolute realistic how we're seeing mock drafts occur. 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4, and the Lions have the option to get a dynamic player on the defensive line. So it's a good trend. We want to see it, and these trends are happening all over, and I've been talking about it on my channel for months now that you could see 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4. No one believed it in the beginning, but now you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, it's a realistic possibility. So we'll see, but I think it is very possible. And I know I did mock drafts where the Lions were trading with the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people said, no way, no way. Now you're seeing Tennessee getting mocked all the way to number 3. They want a quarterback. They'll go get a quarterback. So if they don't trade up to 3, I would expect them to call Detroit at 6. Hell yeah, move back. There's no reason, unless a Will Anderson is there, to not trade back to get a next year's first-round pick. Going from 6 to 11, you'll get next year's first-round pick and this year's second-round pick or a third. That's what it would take. So I'm in the camp for that. This is good news for our football team, folks. We're seeing the trends happening. We need to see these trends continue, and in 3 weeks we're going to see, hopefully, it happen in real life. So it's looking pretty good right now for our Detroit Lions. We continue to get lucky. Brad Holmes has been a lucky GM. Not saying he's lucky to get the picks, but I mean with Aina Hutchinson falling to 2 and Penei Sewell falling to the Lions, that type of luck there. Like, just getting blessed each year. Hopefully this trend continues into year 3 here where we can get a premium talent or a trade offer for our Detroit Lions. With that said, we're dropping videos every single day on here in LNU, live on Tuesdays. We got the NFL Draft that's going to be live on here, potentially in person, where you guys come hang out with us and enjoy the day with us. I mean, if we're going to be in person, folks, we need you to show up. Me to show up and hang out with us, because I'd love to meet all the subscribers, some of you guys, and just hang out. With that said, folks, adios.